Hello, world. Your favorite podcast host, Anthony Diaz, here with another episode of 50 States of Terror, the American Cryptid podcast. Again, my name is Anthony Diaz, and welcome back. Thank you so much for coming to this new episode. Utah, we're almost clearing out the 50 states. Um, if you can't tell from my voice, I am extremely tired. um, it's not that I've been having issues sleeping because I get kind of enough sleep. I don't get the full 8 hours like you're supposed to. Um, it averages around 4 or 5, given the circumstances of the day, or like if I have to get up early, uh, or anxiety hits. I don't know, man. Just like sometimes I just cannot sleep. And I've been working on so many different projects. I have T Fest coming up in August 8th through the 10th in Pflugerville, Texas. Get your badges, get your badges, get your badges. Um, it's going to be an awesome weekend. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it to Notre Dame for my student orientation for my master's program at Notre Dame. I don't know if I can make it. Um, Things are just super tight right now, man. Like I do not know if I can make it, but hey, I'll try to find a way, man. I'll try to find a way. For the viewing audience, you can tell that everything is blurred out because we're working on rearranging some stuff, and eventually we're going to move all of this, well, the majority of this into the garage, hopefully, and we can start doing some real productions and have a working workshop slash recording studio in the garage. Has always been uh, Kaylee and I's kind of like goal, or even have a dedicated space somewhere, maybe like in a storage unit somewhere in the backyard, air conditioned AC like shed type thing for recording or studio. Um, but that's years and years down the road, probably, hopefully. Um, but yeah. Um, Again, I'm just super tired, super tired. But I wanted to record Utah, the Beehive state, and oh man, Utah has some amazing history. It's actually pretty interesting, and I'll talk about that once we get inside the episode. Like I'll explain how Utah is one of those states who are like it's not it's not completely uh like origin story of European settlers. There's a part where it's just like this community of people just kind of like migrated to Utah and then became Utah. And but I'll explain all that stuff. Let's see what else is going on. I still have my scholarship page open. If anybody would like to donate to the cause, or if you have sponsorships or grants available to students like me, you can go to my GoFundMe page. It is titled "Support Veterans Dream." Sorry. Holy shit! It's called "Support Veterans Dream," Notre Dame Grad School, and yeah, and like, share, all that stuff. So if you know anybody who has scholarships or grants available for students like me, um, I would greatly appreciate any help I can get. It's going to pay for travel, obviously tuition, books, supplies, all that stuff. I'm currently trying to get the Rudisill review, but I don't think I qualify. But we'll see. I submitted my application, and hopefully I'll get something back. If I don't get the Rudisill review, then I'll just find another way, because that's what I do, man. Find another way. Let's get into Utah. Okay, so let's start off with Utah. Ancestral uh, Pueblolians, and they mention uh, Pueblolians in that, like how you say like Texas or Texans, like Pueblolians, and Fremont people lived in what is now Utah before the presence of the European exploration. If you want a visual on the environment and how they lived, these were the inhabitants of those carved out communities in large mountainsides. And it is fascinating to think how they lived. But anyway, before the Spanish exploration in around 1540, a mix of Navajo, Gishute, Paiute, Shoshone, and Ute all once called this land home. Now, enter the Europeans. Francisco Vasquez de Coronado explored the southern parts of Utah looking for the Cibola, or otherwise known as the Seven Cities of Gold. This 16th century rumor of a city of limitless riches came from failed expedition survivors returning to New Spain and telling tales of reports of references of this mythical location. By the way, this whole small piece of history is really interesting. It's a really interesting story which mimics El Dorado. So take 5 minutes after this episode and research Cibola. It is fascinating. It's Cibola. Okay. In 1821, Mexico received its independence from Spain, and this area became known as Alta California. By 1825, European trappers and fur traders began to make their way into the region. By the 1830s, Salt Lake City became an European and American trading post. In 1844, this is where it gets interesting. In 1844, with the death of Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, a president of the Quorum of the Twelve, agreed with Illinois Governor Thomas Ford in October 1845 that they would leave by 1846 because of growing tensions with them and others in Illinois. And who am I referring to when I say they? It is the Church of Latter-day Saints. Let's see. Mormons play a massive role in the development of Utah. Okay, so this move from Brigham Young, which was the conflicts that led to relocating to Salt Lake Valley in July of 1847, Utah became the only Western state to have slavery in 1847 from this move. From 1847, nearly 70,000 Mormons pioneers would eventually make the trip to Utah over the course of 20 years. This, too, unfortunately led to diseases, outbreaks such as measles, pox, and flu, which affected indigenous peoples greatly. Meanwhile, while all this was occurring, the Mexican-American War was shaping the U.S. from April 25th, 1846 to February 2nd, 1848, which resulted in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. This led to Utah applying for statehood, which began as the state of Deseret. Again, a very interesting history lesson in researching this particular state. Also, again, if you haven't caught on yet, the state of Deseret was highly influenced by the Church of Latter-day Saints. Very interesting stuff and a lot of historical significance to this state. And of course, we see this from Christianity, Catholics, Protestants, and other states. But the fact that this is only occurring in this particular state and pretty much like made the state is fascinating. Okay, so Utah became a territory in 1850 to 1896. Utah received its name after the Ute tribe of Native Americans. The act in the act in relation to slaves and the Act for Relief of Indian Slaves and Prisoners of 1852 formally legalized slavery in the territory. And of course, it was abolished during the Civil War. Oh, interesting. Seems that my video. Where was I? In the years leading to the state's union, tensions rose with local indigenous populations, with major conflicts such as the Provo River Massacre and Mountain Meadows Massacre. By 1869, industrial and commercial developments were starting to spike, with the first transcontinental railroad being completed in May of 1869 in Promontory, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Utah. And the national beauty of Utah spawned the opening of Bryce Canyon National Park and Zion National Park. And of course, the many state parks that they have. I have not personally visited Utah, but it is definitely on my list of states to visit soon. The natural beauty and incredible history makes Utah a perfect state to talk about, especially when we dive into the state's cryptids. And I forgot to mention which ones we're doing this episode. We're doing Old Briney, the Utah Lake Monster, and water babies. Let's start with Old Briney. This one is one of those cryptids that sparked the realm of historically possible, considering that this cryptid has been confirmed real. The problem is that they are extinct. The great brine shrimp, or Old Briney, is 100% an Anomalocaris. 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 Okay, that sounds right. Or a slight variation of the Cambrian species that lived in ancient Lake Bonneville. This is what makes this cryptid so special. It is the fossil evidence of previous existence on this earth. Also, what makes this one very special is the sheer size of what people are seeing. Seeing. Again, this is another one of those episodes where I cannot fucking talk. But it's okay. Here we go. The simple description of a shrimp the size of a large dog. That's it. It's the simple description of a shrimp the size of a large dog. And this is exactly what you would see if you looked up the Anomalocaris fossil. Now, the size may differ because it is also described as the size of a horse. But these are very interesting to research because of the historical evidence involved. Sightings have occurred around 1848, and with the last of these sightings around 1877. No current sightings have been reported. So what could this be? It is possible that there are a single outlier of extinct species that somehow resurfaced in the late 19th century. I don't know. Or is it a case of an optical illusion possibly caused by salt fluctuations in the lake? I don't know. Or misidentification of animals or other species? I don't know. This is a fun one because of the what ifs. What if there was a million-year-old species just existing in the lake at Utah? The Utah Lake averages a depth of 10 feet and at its deepest point at 14 feet. Then the Great Salt Lake at 34 feet deep. And you know how I love cryptids. It just makes me feel so good, maybe knowing that there is an extinct animal species just living in the deepest part of these lakes. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would never go explore these deep lakes or oceans, but the mystery behind these aquatic ones are awesome to research. Next is the Utah Lake Monster. At first read, I instantaneously got the never ending story vibes because what has been reported has seen in 1868 in Utah Lake was a large snake with the head of a greyhound. Others have described a large serpent-like creature with wicked-looking black eyes. What makes this incredibly interesting is the fact that in 1870, a fisherman dredged up a skull with eye sockets the size of an ox and 5-inch long tusk that projected from the rear section of the jaw. With the last sighting occurring in 2006, now this is one that has a more recent sighting. The description is fairly consistent with a serpent-like body and a dog's head. Although it should be noted that many other monsters that are cited in the lake have also been referred to as the Utah Lake Monster. For instance, the sighting in 2006 is described as an alligator's head along with a large serpent body and is showing what appear to be appendages as long as a human's arm. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now, let's get to the last one. Last one, water babies. Deep in indigenous lore, something lurks in the water, and it is downright terrifying. They're called water babies. Water babies, at its basic foundation, is indeed horrific. Not like anything that is like 18 feet eldritch horror horrifying. Water babies, at its core, are spirits who potentially lure people into the waters or lakes. Now, the description of these cryptids usually center around human, typically small children. It may also have the appearance of having fishtails or maybe other aquatic characteristics, but these water babies lure people to their potential death by mimicking the sounds of crying babies. There are a couple of different stories behind these cryptids, such as some believe that they are vengeful spirits, while others, like the Paiute, who believe that they are spirits who are necessarily not vengeful, but are connected by the water by other means, whether it's spiritually or whether it's like drawn, like that spirit is drawn to that body of water. Either way, the story goes that you can go inside, not go inside, but you can venture around the lake and you can hear a baby crying in the water, and it lures people in. It's one of those things to where me personally, I'm just like, I'm not going nowhere near that lake. Okay. So now it's time to rate these cryptids from 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best golden Nessies. So since I'm not doing one at a time, I'm going to combine all three and give it a rating. I personally love the aquatic ones. I think they're fun. I think they're enjoyable. I think there's a lot of historical significance in these things, such as the large aquatic beasts that we find, the fossils left over, the stories of like the kraken and the massive sharks, and it goes back to megalodon and all of these aquatic creatures that are just creepy looking that once existed. It lays down a foundation of fear that I think isn't necessarily embedded into every human, because like there are some people who are just not afraid of the water. But the thing about the dark, deepest parts of it is what creeps people out, and I'm on that side. So with all of these cryptids today that are aquatic in nature, I think I'm going to give it just a straight 4. Um, Obviously the ones that I like the best is the water baby, because that's just terrifying. But also the old Briney, sparks an interest of like the massive what if, mainly because we know that these things used to exist, but like the last sighting is in 1877, right? So is it possible that something could have happened to where there's like an outlier out there of this large crustacean out there? I don't necessarily know. What's fun about it is just the fact that we know that they used to like roam the earth. We have evidence of it, and it may be something to where somebody may have like visited a newly um, like uh, uh, seen part of a lake, and it exposed a side of the lake that maybe the water level dropped, and they're seeing like this outline of this fossil, perfectly outlined fossil, and it sparks imagination, and then in 1877. Oh, I'm sorry, occurred around 1848. If I was just randomly going to the lake and I saw this fossil of this large shrimp thing, I'd be like, are there more in there? Just asking the question. But yeah, I give it a solid 4. A solid 4. Uh, and Utah is one of those states to where I really want to go visit because it just looks so beautiful in pictures. And if you're from Utah, take lots of pictures, dude. Take lots of pictures. And keep the natural beauty there in Utah, man. For real. So yeah, Ziggy's wisdom. Um, I would just say, with especially like today with me recording, and I'm tired, have a lot of projects going on, I'm mentally exhausted, you know, uh, trying to find work and worrying about grad school and worrying about how I'm going to, provide for the family and things like that. One of the things you have to do is you just have to calm yourself, calm your mind. And I know I say it a lot. You don't quit and you keep moving forward, but you also have to take time to like take care of yourself too. You know, it's important for you to self-reflect, and it's important for you to look inward and say, what do I need right now? Do I need 10 minutes to myself? Do I need to write down my feelings? Do I need to talk about my feelings? Because I know as men, it's really weird to start that conversation. But once you learn that it's important for your mental health not to just have everything like trapped in, it's important to exercise those muscles. You know, the muscles of the brain. Yeah, you have to do it all from the brain down to the toe, man. And as someone who's getting older, I have to realize that I can't keep worrying about the things that I have no control over, but I also have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, because if I'm not taking care of myself, then how can I take care of other people? So yeah, there it is. Biggest wisdom. Just take a moment for yourself, take a couple deep breaths, and just keep keep moving forward afterwards, man. All right. Um I truly appreciate everybody who is downloading these episodes, who's listening to them, who's following the show, who's active in the comments on TikTok and YouTube. 100% truly appreciate it. I am I I now have to have goals in order to make this like something that I can bounce off of. So my next goal is to hit 1,000 downloads in 1 month. I'm almost there. Um, that I think my peak is at 820. So I just need some more listens and some more people. Uh, and hopefully I can make this into a viable like side gig, because it's fun. I love doing it. This is enjoyable. But it's time to take this to the next level, and I am confident I can do it. Um, I have a couple more states to go, and then I'm going to start looking into going back into the 50 states, doing some other cryptids, and it's going to be fun. And we've been doing this for what, 5 years now, so I'm excited for the rest of the season, and I cannot wait to keep going. And yeah, so yeah, I'm rambling. I'm just tired. I'm just so tired. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, for downloading, following, for sharing. Truly means a lot to me. And yeah, hit us up: YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram. Um, I think I'm still on X. I don't. I think I am. It's all a blur. All right. Again, thank you all.